Hello everyone, welcome to the latest episode of Refining Fire Chilies, Cooking with Chilies and Spices. So, what we're going to do is we're going to make today a salsa verde, green style salsa. Now it's going to be a little different than other people make it, but a lot of you have been bugging me, how can I find out how to make your salsa? What's your recipe? And I wouldn't share it with you. So today I'm going to share you the green version. Not the red. The red's a family secret, but the green version's a little bit different from the red, so you might be able to figure it out. So right now, I'm going to show you how we make it. We're going to make it in a 10 to 12 cup food processor, okay? I'm going to show you the ingredients and the order I put them in. So let me take the lid off the food processor to get ready, okay? Now, the ingredients I'm going to be using are baby carrots, and you're going like, baby carrots? Since when are baby carrots in a salsa or verde recipe? Well, they are in mine. They add a little bit of sweetness to it. So the first thing I'm going to put in is a baby carrots, a little bit over a cup, maybe a cup and a half full. Now, the second ingredient I'm going to put in is some Himalayan pink sea salt. The next ingredient I'm going to put in is about 4 to 5 ounces of white vinegar. Now, why white vinegar? Well, this salsa isn't going to be cooked and then jarred to be shelf stable, to be on a shelf without refrigeration. But if you use the ingredients that I'm using, it'll last you in the fridge probably a good 3 weeks. But you probably won't even let it last 3 weeks, because what's going to happen is you're going to eat it up before then. So the next thing I'm going to put in is about 4 to 5 ounces of lime juice. Now, I like to use the key lime juice in the store, or if you can't find it, then just any old lime juice will do, just as long as it's lime juice. Or you have the option of using fresh squeezed limes if you want to do that. That's up to you. 4 to 5 ounces of lime juice. If you want it to be a little bit more tart, then use a little more. Then I just use a small handful of cilantro, okay? So we're going to add that cilantro in right now in the bottom, because sometimes the cilantro doesn't blend up totally too good in the food processor, so we add it in early. Whatever takes a little bit more work, we add it in early. Okay, after that, we're going to put in some sweet onion. Now you see a little bit of green next to that sweet onion? That is a green super hot, a big mustard mama. I prefer using a green habanero type. Capsicum chinense would be the Latin name for the habanero type. Green, Scotch bonnet, green. If you can't, that's okay. Use a couple regular orange habaneros, or use a couple Scotch bonnets, or use whatever you want. But this is going to be my heat element. Okay? So I'm going to add that in, and then this is the sweet onion. Now, we're using about 1/2 of a sweet onion. A large sweet onion like this. You can find these in the grocery store. If you're in an area where you can't find these, because at one time I didn't find them in all the stores, but they're pretty much in every grocery store, Publix, Kroger's, Albertsons, whatever. I use about half for this batch of salsa. So I cut it up a little bit into chunks, but I don't have to chop it up, because this food processor will do the work. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in these sweet onions, okay? Now, the next ingredient I'm going to use is chopped minced garlic. I like to get this garlic from the store that's in water. So basically it's garlic, water, and citric acid. And I like to put like 2 really heaping tablespoons of the garlic in, okay? Now, for the other chilies, I already used some of the hot, super hot chili, Big Mustard Mama. Now the other chilies I'm going to use, I have some jalapenos, and these are green jalapenos. And what I did is I roasted them a little bit in my oven. Now, you can do it in a smoker if you want to get a little more flavor, or you can just kind of sear them in a frying pan, whatever you want to do. But with my green salsa, I like to cook them a little bit, because that brings out the caramelized sugars in the chili and a little bit of sweetness in the chili. The next bowl here is some roasted poblanos, ancho poblanos, green poblanos, which I've taken the seeds out of, and some sweet peppers. Now, you don't have to use sweet peppers. You can use a mild pepper like an Anaheim. But I roast this amount a little bit, and then I take the seeds and the stems out. So we're going to put those in next. Now, food processor is always getting pretty full. The next thing I'm going to put in is tomatillos. These are tomatillos. Now you can get roasted tomatillos. You can buy the tomatillos, peel them, and roast them. Same thing. In your oven, in your smoker, or just pan sear them a little bit. It brings out a little bit more flavor. But be careful with the tomatillos, because when you do that, you're going to get juice coming out of them. And then, it'll get all over the place. Also, you can buy canned tomatillos at some Mexican grocery stores if you want to skip that step. Now you notice I'm wearing rubber gloves as I'm putting all the ingredients in. Even if you're making food for family, if you're going to be handling everything, since there's always bugs and things going around, especially if you have children, it's a good idea to use rubber gloves. If you use the rubber gloves, then even if you wash your hands with soapy water, it's one more thing. You're not going to add any contamination to the food. Just make sure your utensils and everything are nice and clean. Wear the rubber gloves. It's just a little bit easier, okay? Now, for the final ingredient, which is optional, which I'm going to take off my gloves now, is I'm going to add a little splash of expensive tequila. This is optional. This is Milagro tequila. It's about $80 to $100 a bottle, depending on where you get it. It's been aged in barrels. It's really, really smooth. I don't drink on much. I drink a little bit here and there. I'd say maybe once a month, once every 2 months. But I like a good fine tequila. So tequila goes good with lime. So I'm just going to put a little splash of tequila in there, a shot or so. And that's my final ingredient. Again, that's optional. A lot of these things are optional. You can use less garlic if you want less garlic flavor. You can use more sweet chilies if you want more sweet chili flavor. If you don't want to have any heat at all, don't put any green habaneros or green scotch bonnets or of course, green super hot chilies in there. Don't put those in there. But if you want that flavor, just use a little bit. When you use a super hot chili, like a big mustard mama or something like that, or even some scotch bonnets, use a little bit just for flavor. You don't have to use a lot. Use a little bit. Now, we're going to turn on a food processor and blend this up, and we will be ready to go. And now we are done. So, here's what it looks like in the food processor. Now we're going to pour this carefully into this bowl so we don't splash all over. It's a little bit foamy. That's not because it's not made correctly. That's just generally what you're going to get when you're done. After a while, these bubbles and this foam will go away. So this is a great salsa. Let me show you something really quick. If you want to look at the texture a little bit, that's what you're going to get. Okay? So you can use this as a verde over pork chili verde. I just generally eat it with chips. It's pretty good. You might get a few things like, see that little piece of onion didn't blend up? That's all right. You can take it out or just eat it with your chips. Okay? So that is my green chili salsa. It's delicious. I've probably had a few hundred people taste it. They love it. They like it more than my red. So you're getting the recipe for my green right now. So all you that were upset because you never got the recipe for the red, now you got your recipe for the green, and the green is a lot better. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go relax. Oh, you probably noticed I've got my My Little Pony shirt on. You know, with all the drama in the news today and on the internet, you got to relax and wind down. So what do? I just put on a couple episodes of My Little Pony or Powderpuff Girls, even though it's not a manly thing, and I just relax and just forget about the troubles of the day and lay down next to my dogs and pet them and just relax. Huh? Maybe you should try it sometime. My Little Pony's pretty cool. So this is Jim Duffy of Refining Fire Chilies, www.superhotchilies.com. Look forward to more cooking episodes and to some other surprises this year. I hope you all have learned something. And now you've got the recipe for my green salsa. So you all take care.